Thank you, sir. So I'm going to call to order the July 18th, 2022 Broadband Committee meeting. I know David sent out the actual agenda earlier today. Hopefully everybody's gotten a chance to read over that and take a look at it. I believe there was one update that David sent out a little bit later, which is, kind of moves a few things around. But does anybody have any changes or anything they want to add to the agenda? All right. Hearing none, we'll move forward to we just update everybody since we've dispensed the reading of the meeting minutes. The June meeting minutes are on the actual video on YouTube. So if you want to read over or see any of that, you can just watch the video from our June meeting and you can see everything that was discussed there and all the status updates.
Jason,
Right. Yes,
I'm sorry I'm late. This is Floyd.
Yep.
Can we get an update on Starlink?
Yes, actually, that's in the new broadband agenda. Was an update on the broadband or Starlink?
That's what I wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. David, did you want to add? I didn't see it on there. I know on the earlier one it was on there. Did you want to just add that as number 5 in old business? Because when you just scrolled down, I didn't see it on that one. I've got all my notes and stats ready to go, just to update everybody. All right, so we'll jump into old business. Update on the railroad crossings. David, did you want to go ahead and take that one away? You're on mute, David, if you're talking.
Yeah, just when I went to type, it changed. I've been using my space bar to unmute, but once you start typing, it disables that. As far as updates on the railroad crossings, everything, all the permit requests have been submitted to the railroad. Probably about the same place that we were last month. However, we are expecting a reply from the railroads at any time now. As soon as we get those, I will send them out to members of this committee so that you're aware. For the people listening in that are unfamiliar with what we may be talking about, the County Board of Supervisors last year approved funding to move forward with 4 railroad crossings, installing conduit under the railroad tracks in 4 different areas. If you look at our county, it's almost divided in half by railroad that goes pretty much up the center of the county in a way. And the problem that we have is that VATI projects are usually tied to about an 18-month time frame once the contract is signed to completion. So therefore, the board recognized and also accepted the recommendation of this committee that we go ahead and move forward with that, since that process can take 12 to 18 months to complete. And then, that would prevent the VATI project from finishing on time in the required time frame. So we are moving forward with that part of the process, working on the assumption that at some point, in order to go east to west, which is the way a lot of that infrastructure needs to travel, or in Pinola's situation, it would probably be west to east. But there are 4 areas in the county that are stranded or divided by the railroad. So if we don't cross under or go over those railroads at those 4 points, it would make the project a lot more expensive for the county and also delay it and make us ineligible for VATI. So we are moving forward with those. We've submitted all the necessary design and engineering. Mr. Schiebel's been assisting us with this. It's all been submitted to CSX, and we're just waiting on the actual permits to come back so we can move to the next phase. So that's where we're at right now.
Anybody have any questions on that? All right, hearing none, we'll move forward to the Affordability Connectivity Program and Broadband Equity. David, I believe that's back to you.
So part of a successful universal coverage of a county is also a portion of it that covers affordable connectivity for the people that live in that county, as well as broadband equity, trying to reach out to everyone. I've said it before at several different meetings, but there's nothing more frustrating than have a citizen living right on a piece of coax or a piece of fiber that offers internet and not be able to afford to connect to it. So part of us, of our total push, the GOT broadband movement from this committee would be to try to, one, expand universal coverage to where it covers all the houses in Caroline. And then along with that, promote the Affordable Connectivity Program. Now, the Affordable Connectivity Program is assistance of $30 per month, but you have to be on an existing provider's service area. For example, if you lived in a part of the county that doesn't have broadband right now, you would not be eligible for the Affordable Connectivity Program because it has to be existing. But as we push to expand the existing footprint, we also at the same time need to make sure that the citizens are aware of this program and the steps necessary to apply. So part of what we've been doing is reaching out to other organizations. We approached the Social Services Board and requested their assistance in promoting this program. And then just last Monday, I made a presentation and met Joey for the first time face-to-face at the school board. And the school board brought up some very interesting points. So one of the criteria for being able to qualify for the $30 a month credit is dealing with the free or reduced lunches or breakfasts, or in a district that has been deemed eligible for assistance for meals. So, and that part of it, I was made aware, and I was already aware and kind of wondering if that were the case. But it was confirmed that they were already qualified for that. If that's the case, it could be that every citizen in Caroline County or every resident in Caroline County would qualify for the $30 a month credit if they have a student that is going to school in Caroline. And that's just one of the criteria. There's a lot of other criteria. So we would like to urge everyone to go to www.affordableconnectivity.gov. That's www.affordableconnectivity.gov. If you go to that website, you'll see the criteria there. There's also income-based criteria, just multiple different ways that you could qualify for that assistance. On that website, you can actually get qualified and you will receive a confirmation number. That number you provide to the provider that gives you internet in your area, and you will receive a $30 credit on your bill, and in turn that provider receives the money directly. So it's a $30 credit for a lot of people on their bill. So part of the promotion of this and trying to get the word out. So we've talked to Department of Social Services. We're going to provide them with documentation that they can hand out to people coming in seeking assistance. We're also working with the Caroline Library System, where the branches will have the handouts for the two different providers, as well as through the school system. And the school system, especially if every student would then be eligible at their home for this discount, the school system has really stepped up, and thanks to their excellent cooperation and effort that they put forward in the meeting, we really have a good way to reach out to a lot of people. So we're working to get some information to them so that they can email electronically a lot of this information to parents. And also the next big thing is, and this is probably something that we'll discuss a little bit later, but be thinking that October, November, we want to have a big, large hybrid type meeting where we can have people in person if they want to be in person, or if not, they can stream it on social media and be able to get a lot of this information. Maybe have some of the providers come in. All of your larger providers have dedicated people dedicated to this program that have a lot of knowledge and can assist. So we're just thinking about that. And I think we're discussing that again later on, aren't we, Jason? The October, November meeting?
Yes, we're going to discuss that in new business.
So just be aware that we are assisting. Now, during the last VATI 2022 application, we received the maximum points here. A lot of that was based on information that was given and provided by the two partners in that application at that time. However, we want to make sure that we also have input in this area. I would think that we should still continue to try to attend public meetings or public gatherings to try to promote this. I spent about 10 hours out of the week at the fair providing information to people that were interested there and talking about broadband in general for the county. So we are making an effort to try to reach out. I would hope that this committee would see fit to continue to reach out at those large public gatherings and try to just get the word out about county efforts to expand broadband, as well as programs like this that can actually really save money. And that's about it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that?
Yes, I've got a question for David, just to make sure. The program is essentially for people who have access already. In other words, there's a cable run by their house. What about the ones we're doing now, as a matter of fact, for the VATI 2020 grant, where the cable stops 500 feet, a quarter mile from their house? Is there some sort of program that would help them get that extra extension to be connected?
There is, and that's another part of this application. One of the things that we're working through with the providers, it's the LECAP program by the state of Virginia. It's the Long Extension Connectivity Program. So it's to help those particular houses. So again, if you have someone that's in that situation, that's a different program. That's the line extension program to get them the internet. And then again, if they had students, they could still be eligible for this discount. So there are multiple programs. We got a lot of information to get out there. And I'm hoping that we can have a good turnout. The schools agreed to help us promote that program. We just need to nail down, some dates and details on that. So yes, there are a number of programs. If you have questions about that particular situation with a line extension where you can't reach, you're close, but maybe not, or if your driveway is too long, then I would urge you to go to the Caroline County website, go to Broadband, scroll down to the bottom where we have the inquiry form, put your information in there. We'll get it to the correct people to start working to see if there's something that we could do.
Okay, great.
All right. Anything else? All right. So next we'll move on to the current project that's ongoing, which is the VATI 2021 project that's currently underway. Can we get a status update on that, Mr. Sadler?
Yep. So with the increased signs on the side of the road in certain areas that there's construction, utility construction ahead, and vehicles and the fiber sticking out of the ground, comes the extra questions that we're getting. So we're getting a lot of responses right now to that broadband inquiry form. And so the way the project is working right now, probably about 90% of the fiber is in place for VATI 2021. Now, the problem is the last 10% could be the slower part of it in certain areas, but they have a lot of fiber in the ground right now for those areas. That project is still on schedule to complete by the end of January. It's running slightly ahead of schedule right now. It is in some danger of not being ahead of schedule. The problem that they're having right now is manholes and pedestals are non-existent. So they struggle to get enough to complete the manholes and pedestals so that the fiber can be pulled through the conduit that's already in the ground and start the splicing. But as of right now, we're to report that right now the project is on schedule. Hopefully the Port Royal project within the next couple of months we'll have some live tests online, and work is proceeding, as scheduled for those. So making good progress.
Okay. All right. Next, we'll go to the 2023 VATI grant update.
So on the VATI 2023 application, we have met with both partners, Verizon and with BreezeLine multiple times. We're now meeting on a regular scheduled regular scheduled meetings, recurring meetings with both partners from now until August the 25th. Currently, we're meeting every other week or every week now. And then as we get closer, we'll probably go to twice a week. I will tell you that based on the complete RFP that we received from Verizon, we're in good shape on that application. We do have a few areas that we're trying to just clean up a little bit and strengthen the application. As these meetings go on, and because of the timing of our meeting, just keep an eye out on your inbox. If there's something that we need in particular, or we need guidance on something for the application, we may need to pull together a meeting kind of on the fly before the next regular scheduled meeting. Our next scheduled meeting would be just a matter of 10 days or so from the application deadline. So there are some areas that we're working through, working to identify. We've gone through both applications line by line, engaged the data that we have as complete or still working on certain areas. So there are a few areas on both applications where we can work to strengthen that up. And it's going to be a very competitive application process this year. It's a possibility that the money, the large chunk of money may not even be there right at the beginning. So we just need to do a really strong application. Thanks to the partnership of both BreezeLine and Verizon, kicking in a lot more money than they did last, or BreezeLine anyway, kicking in a lot more money than they did last application, and Verizon coming out of the box with a really large contribution to the project. I think we have a strong application, and so we're just working on trying to put the finishing touches on that now. So just keep an eye on your inbox. If we get something, we may need, for example, input Jason Barlow and myself have talked several times about a couple of ideas. I like the idea of the petition that you came up with. Jason, if you want to just kind of give them that idea where we're trying to identify.
Can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. While you were talking about the petition, I actually had it up on my screen, getting the latest numbers on it.
You should be able to share now.
It says you cannot share, others are presenting, so you might have to stop yours. I thought it would kick you off. This one. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see this is on change.org. This is Bridging the Digital Divide in Caroline County. This is a petition that I stumbled upon out on Facebook, but it talks about where current residents are trying to petition to get broadband brought inside of Caroline County. And right now there are 442 signatures, and they're trying to get to 500. There are also people that have put down here at the bottom. They talk about a VATI grant was submitted in 2021 but was not successful. But there are also people that are putting in updates. There's also money that's been donated to change.org for this. That I don't know where that goes to. But again, this is one that I actually found on Facebook for people trying to get these signatures. So if you are watching this, I think this is something that, everybody on this meeting, if we can share this out to try and get as many signatures on this as possible. And then we can potentially include this in our VATI grant, either a link to this because it'll still be ongoing, or I don't know whether we need to print something out for this or what have you, to put inside of our VATI grant. But I think this is good to have, that we do have residents inside of Caroline County that are signing a petition to try and get this in here.
So we have seen in past applications that petitions can help. So I would just like to reach out to, I guess it looks like Mr. Bice is the one that's doing this petition. We just need to make sure that we have copies of the decision or the application or the petition in time to be able to include with the application. So doing the petition is great, but if we don't have it to include it, then it's not that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Excuse me for cutting in, but that was one really important thing with our successful petition, or with our successful grant in 2020. There were people in the Mattapanai district who created a petition, and there were people in Port Royal who sent emails, and those really carry a lot of weight. I asked at a board meeting if we could get each board member to get people to sign a petition. We can include as many petitions as possible. So this one's got 500, and there's one from Bowling Green or Reedy Church with a couple of hundred. We can include those, but it's important that we get them from every district, because this is our, attempt to get full county coverage.
Yeah, so we have a commitment from the board of about $4.5 million as the county's contribution. So both companies are really contributing a lot. We've got a strong application. So if citizens can please just get your name on a petition somewhere, and then whoever's responsible for those, make sure that we get those. Again, if you go to Caroline County website, go to Broadband, go to the bottom, use that inquiry form. We get a copy of that, and that way it's written. Your request is written, and we respond to those. And so that would be a good way for people to get these petitions to us. Just reach out on that website and get the information to us. We appreciate all the help. It really truly is a countywide push to try to get broadband to everybody. The Board of Supervisors is in support of it. And so for that reason, the state looks at this as buy-in from the community. So the more we can get the community involved in supporting the project, the more chances of success that we have.
So I just put the link to this one actually inside of the chat for this video. So if anybody wants to copy that out to any of their social media pages, please try and let's push this as much as possible.
And while we're talking about this, Jason and I discussed just for a few minutes, with the assistance that's been pledged by the school board and the wide reach that they have in the faith-based part of the county, we really need to figure out a way, Mr. Thomas. You and I have discussed this several times in the past, of being able to identify activities in the churches beyond church-related activities. So if your church is used for Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, food pantries, anything that's an outreach that would allow the state to consider that a community hub, we need to figure out a way to get that documented. We're getting kind of close on time, so I don't know if a petition like this, or we could craft another form to put up on the website to allow people to log in and just give some of the activities outside of church that their church is used for, so that we could qualify them as a community hub. And then that would give us a lot of weight. And it takes a lot. I think we get 1 point for every 25. So 25 buildings, it doesn't necessarily have to be churches, but community centers, fire stations that don't currently have service that's used for activities such as Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, food pantries.
Things like the Moose Lodge or the Breweritons.
Right.
Those are good too. The really important thing is maybe we send a letter to each and every church that says, we're doing this internet project, and if you use your church facility for any community-based services, you can be connected. And then just get them to come back with a yes or no. I'm sure we could get 50 or so, because seems like there's hundreds of churches in Caroline.
And one thing that we need everybody to realize is that, we're talking 1 point for every 25. We get 50, we get 2 points. Doesn't sound like a lot of points, but in a competitive grant application, 2 points can make the difference of getting money or not. So every point counts.
I think we missed out by 10 points last go around, or something that close.
It was very close. We lost some points for the universal coverage, but if we'd have had that, which we do this time, then it would have been down to probably less than 5 points. That would have separated us from getting money. So that's why every single point counts. That's the reason why, even in a lot of the areas on the application that we received the full points last time, we're still looking to strengthen those responses and try to get every single point possible.
Okay. Any questions or anything on that? All right, so I'll jump over now to the Starlink update. Unfortunately, from what I can see, the latest information on their map, they are currently not taking any orders at all in Caroline County at this time. If you hover over the Caroline County, it says expected in 2023. I don't know what the date is in 2023 that they're talking about. I have talked to several people in the county who have received Starlink, currently utilizing Starlink, and are able to work from at home and do work on their Starlink. So it is helping bridge some of the gap. But again, it's not always 100%. For instance, during the peak time or the busy time, I've seen my internet drop down to 6-7 megs, which is slow, but I'm still able to work and surf the internet and whatever I need to do. And then once you get past the peak time, which is around 10 o'clock, things start to speed back up. Starlink is currently launching more and more satellites. Just last month, since our last meeting, they've launched 212 satellites. They've had 4 launches that have gone on, and they currently have 5 launches scheduled between now and our next meeting in August, or the proposed date. We haven't gotten down to that part of the meeting yet, but they have 5 more launches. They have one on the 21st of this month and the 24th on this month of July, but they've got 3 more that are scheduled in August as of this point. Each time they're taking up about 53 satellites. So they are continuing to expand and put more satellites up there, get more coverage, more throughput, so forth, so on. As you can see, the live link out to all the different satellites that are out there. Each one of these little dots, the moving green dots or the moving blue dots, and even these yellowish ones are different satellites that are up there. These blue lines are very, very interesting. This is something that is recently added in version 1.5 of satellites. This shows where the laser connections are. So since our last meeting, Starlink has gotten FCC approval to be able to use Starlink on vehicles in motion. So that is currently been approved. At this point, I don't know whether they're going to charge a different fee, but that does open up to maritime out in the ocean to where they can now connect satellites to, or the ships or planes or what have you, to Starlink at this point to get faster broadband out there. There's several cruise ships. I believe the last one showed a video or a picture of the bow of the ship with about 10 or 15 Starlink business dishes, which are more expensive dishes and higher throughput on their ships. So that way, while they're out at sea, they can provide people with real broadband. So as I said, they are constantly throwing up new dishes. You can see here where they've got one scheduled. This was on June 17th that it was successful out of Kennedy Space Center. But if you go to this spacelaunchschedule.com, you can actually look at what rockets are planning on going up and being launched at this point in time. I encourage anybody that has not watched one of these launches, definitely go out and take a look at it. There's some interesting technology that goes on with this. Even down to the point where these bottom portions of the rocket actually fly back to Earth and land themselves on a ship that just said, one of them is I Still Love You. One is Just Read the Manual. There's one other one, I can't remember what the name of it is, but they just land themselves back on the ship. They're cleaned up, loaded up, and sent back up to space. Was somebody trying to say something? Okay. So definitely take a look at this. This is a picture of one of the new dishes installed on one of the people inside of Caroline County, their roof, and now able to use Starlink at this point in time. And I think that's pretty much all the information that I had on Starlink at this point and what changes have happened since our last meeting.
Jason, I would like to update the group that there are people in the Schumansville area that have been on the wait list. And if you talk to those people, they've been on the wait list forever, but they are starting to ship to the people that are on the wait list. So if it's something that you're interested in, get on the wait list and wait, and they will send. And if you look at the map, if you're not on the wait list already, it's not available to outside orders yet. So if it's something that you're interested in to stop the gap or fill the gap between now and when something else is available, I would urge you to go ahead and try to get on a wait list because they are shipping out, and they're shipping out to areas, to people that are on the wait list in areas that's not even shown available on the map yet. So just keep that in mind, that they are shipping. I believe, Jason, I think what I'm seeing is that a lot of the logistics problems, supply chain problems are starting to improve some now.
Right.
That the mounting brackets and Ethernet adapters and all are actually starting to ship closer to the dish time. So instead of being on major back order.
Correct.
So they're working their way through their problems. And again, if it's something that you're interested in, something that you want, you definitely need to get on the wait list because, for example, in Schumansville now, if you look at this map, it's not shown available, but if you are already on that wait list, you probably already have your dish. So get on the wait list, and if it's something that you want.
Well, and I can say that 2 committee members, myself and Jason Jacobus, are both running off of Starlink for this meeting. That's the reason I changed my background to being out of this world, in support of Starlink with that, that it's now I'm able to run videos and homeschooling, and my wife's able to do distance learning and things like that now using Starlink. So definitely good stopgap technology. All right. Anybody got any questions? Mr. Thomas, are you saying something? I saw the green box go to you.
Oh, no, but
Okay.
I always have a question or something to say, but the fact that you and, the 2 Jasons have it, and you're not in the area that they were saying they had cell service available, or I guess territory available around Bowling Green, means just what David was saying, get on the wait list and they may send you something, which is important to people who've been asking about where is Starlink. They are sending things out. People just don't know.
Right. All right. No other comments or questions on that? We'll jump over to new business. David, did you want to talk about the annual review discussion and possibly adopting our plan of universal coverage? I'll unshare my screen. David, if you're talking, you're on mute.
All right. So I know that we got the agenda out, as well as a document that Jason Jacobus and Jason Barlow worked on, updating our plan for universal coverage. In the application process on August 25th, we need to include a copy of that plan for universal coverage. And in looking it over, it had kind of gotten itself out of date. We wanted to make sure that we went through and updated the information, got everything accurate. Appreciate the work that you guys did on that. Jason Barlow, do you have that document? You want to share it?
I can pull it up. Give me 1 second.
Because with any document like this is like a policy that businesses use. They need to be reviewed, and this is our annual review of our plan for universal coverage, just to make sure that it's up to date and accurate. So, Jason, if you wanted to cover what you got there, that would be great.
So everybody on the committee actually got a copy of this. I'd advise everybody, if they can, to please read over it, send it back to all of us with updates. It's currently in a PDF format, but we can actually send out a Google link. David, if you can forward that email out to everybody on the committee, so that way if they have any updates that they'd like to make to the document, they can make it directly there, and then we can adopt it at the next meeting. But essentially what we try to do is Jason, and then I had my wife read over it to make sure that I had all the grammar and tenses and all that wonderful stuff, squared away. But basically what we did in here is we talked about how, what we're looking to do as far as with the VATI grant, what we're defining, and we list out in here, we tried to do a 2022 for universal coverage. We were ultimately not awarded that. Despite the setback, we looked at did RFPs to get more information on any unserved addresses west of 95. It almost just tells a narrative of what we've done and where we've come from. So we started out with just a small project to now looking at last year, we had almost a universal coverage project to now going out for a request for proposal with the different areas, Breeze Line, formerly Atlantic Broadband, for east of 95, and then saying what the priority of the different areas to say this is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the project. All the information about where all the, if you scroll down here a little bit more, gives a little bit more detail, but we also list out what our overall ISP requirements are, what we're giving priority to, which the first thing that we want to do is give priority to fiber to the home. That's going to be the most future ready solution that's currently available with high-speed internet, allowing for upgrades down the road with, as of right now in the making of this video, in 2022, fiber they haven't reached that max yet at a residential to where they can upgrade different pieces and parts at the central location that will then make things readily available to the customer without having to restrand or rerun the fiber. I know in Breeze Line and inside of Verizon, which is the other partner, they're running multiple strands, so that way it allows for future expansion also. So that's the reason we give that a level 1. A level 2 is a hybrid coaxial cable fiber link up, and then we go down from there to fixed wireless. The LEO, which is low Earth orbit satellite, that would be Starlink, and then existing wireless and hotspots, the LTE networks that are out there. We kind of have this other information down here. Please take the time to read over this. If you're following along on this video, I'm actually going to scroll back up as I make everybody dizzy. And I'm going to slow down as I scroll down. This will allow you to pause the video and you can actually read through this, just so that way you have the information also to anybody watching this video. Does that kind of cover everything for you, David, or do we want to go deeper? Or
I wish we had committed those changes. Yeah, and then my planned end of the document was right here at the end of this sentence here, and then we would remove everything from the previous version. So if you would like to move any of those sentences up, let's go ahead and do that now before we start committing the changes, because this is the original document here that I tried to update, but then I thought maybe we should get away from leaving the old history and then just write it in a way that reflects where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for your hard work in getting that up to date. I will get that link out to everyone on the committee, and if we're able to consider this for adoption at our next meeting, we will still have time to get that included in the application itself. So again, I appreciate the work that you guys did on getting that ready. Other than that, I think we're good. I will send out a link following this meeting to everybody that received the original information so they can review it.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? All right, hearing none, we will move on to the last thing that's on our new business, and that is the preliminary broadband equity meeting. We covered this in our old business, and we wanted to talk a little bit more in depth to see what people, what the committee's appetite is as far as where we should hope, potentially host this, or, what month kind of works for everybody to get together to do this. David, did you want to explain a little bit more of what we're ultimately trying to do with this?
So what we're looking to do is, this would be a hybrid meeting. So if people wanted to attend, they're welcome to attend in person. If they can get on Facebook Live, we hope to get it on Facebook Live as well as YouTube, to give the community an opportunity to ask questions about the efforts of broadband to this point, what VATI 2021 or 23 is, or where we're at on those projects, or what they can expect if we are successful in 23. So just to answer those type questions. I would see us committing a portion of the time in explaining equity and ACP to try to get the word out on those projects. I believe it would be very possible for us to have, at the very least, a Zoom visitor from some existing companies to discuss their efforts. Now, one thing that we need to get the word out on is that we worked very hard on identifying partners for the Western Carolina that had packages available that would actually be at or below the $30 credit. That being the case, there will be people that will be eligible for basically free internet on both, throughout the county. So that's important to get the word out. And if you decide that you want to stick with a faster speed, or more service, then the $30 credit could be applied to your account. So there's a lot of moving pieces to that. There's a lot of qualifying criteria that's available on that affordableconnectivity.gov website. And so I think we would be better served if we could have experts on this to come in and actually discuss it. So that would be during this hybrid meeting. And then even if, and while the school offers, or the libraries currently offer or have offered when COVID wasn't around, safety classes or internet safety instruction courses, that's something that we could have a brief 30-minute session on safety. I think it's pretty much recognized that as you start putting the internet into areas that haven't previously had internet, then the risk to those citizens increases, because I think if you look at the level of experience on the internet, the more experience you have, the more you're able to pick up on scams or other crime that could take place. So it's going to be important for us to try to get the word out on that front to our citizens. And that's also a portion that's required in the application. So I would say that we look to address those. Maybe a couple of hour-long program, a hybrid format. I think Jeff, the video guy, would chime in and say if we do something like that, we would be far better off to probably use the community center, since that's already wired up with lights and sound and easier for him to pull video from. So, I mean, I think we're probably, my early thoughts in the rough draft would be sometime in the October, November timeframe. We'll need to firm that up with schedules. And then I would say probably at the community center in a hybrid format. The hybrid format would allow us to have moderators that can actually watch for comments and questions coming in on the social media platforms, and those questions could be posed to people at that meeting, and even just a public comment section, a time for public comment. If someone wanted to come up and make a comment on broadband efforts or whatever during that time frame, as long as it pertained to broadband, we could give the citizens an opportunity to have their, have their voices heard. That's my thoughts, Jason. I would throw that out to this committee for suggestions or whatever you guys want to, your input is very important.
Now, you and I have talked about this a lot. I think you covered everything that you and I have talked about, what we're hoping to get out of this. I believe setting it up virtually and, giving that ability for anybody to be able to attend, broadcasting on multiple platforms, however we can get this to work, would definitely help out.
So if we wanted to kind of figure out, I would say we could even have it be our October or November broadband committee meeting, or use that date, or just not have a meeting that month and have this in its place. But if you guys have an idea, if you think October is better than November or vice versa, let me know. I'll work on starting to try to make sure we get our name on the list for whatever facility that we would need to use.
David, the only thing about November is we have the potential for bad weather. So I would just think October, and I prefer sooner than later, might be a better choice.
All right, so Mr. Thomas wants to look at October. Everybody good with that? And then I think we have a lot of activities. You got Halloween and stuff going on towards the end of that month. So I'll see what I can come up with, maybe a couple of dates that we have to choose from in the middle of October, if that's okay with everyone.
It's good.
All right, I'll work on some dates and give you guys a report back at our next meeting.
Okay. Just to give one more quick update, David, I know it's not on the agenda, but it's something that we talked about. I did reach out to the creator of the change.org information, sent him a message to try and get a connection there so that we can potentially get the names, the information of people that have signed the grant, signed the petition to work towards getting the grant. So I'm hoping to get something back from this individual soon.
Yeah, and if that, Jason, I'd be even, I know that our next meeting will be right before the application, but hey, if they want to make a presentation at our next meeting, that would be great, just to explain the motivation or, how they came up with the idea, because it seems to be effective.
Okay. We'll let him know once he responds back. All right. I think the last thing on there on the agenda is to pick our August meeting. I say we stick with our virtual meeting and look for August 15th. Does that work for everybody?
I think that would be good. Again, just keep your eyes and ears open to your inbox, just in case we have to pull something together ahead of time. The 15th is 10 days prior to the application. So if we come up with something that we need to consider and hopefully approve as a committee at the last minute, we may have to throw a special meeting in there.
Okay. All right, we'll keep an eye on our emails. And I just got a response back, and he said we can absolutely use this list. He'll, David, if you don't mind, can I give him your county email and have him just send the list of people to you, so that way you have it to put inside the grant?
Yep, that would be perfect. You've got my county email address. And if we could maybe let it run as long as we can before he actually sends it, that would be great, so that we get as many signatures on there as we can. I think it's been growing in popularity over the last couple of weeks, so hopefully that'll continue and we'll end up, with 1,000 or so or more. Because we are looking to serve about, Mr. Thomas, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000, 5,500 homes that currently don't have service.
I think that's the number we talked about.
So it's a lot of people out there that need this. And so we just want to try to help any way we can.
Yeah, and I strongly urge everybody on this committee, if we can, to go out there and actually share this petition out, email it out, however we can get it to other people, that would be great.
So we have our next meeting, August the 15th at 7 o'clock via Zoom.
Yep.
Is that what we're going with? Everybody okay with that? Jeff, you're okay with that date as well? I guess. All right. So that's the date.
All right. We're good to go. So at this point, is everybody okay to adjourn at this point?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
All right. Any seconds on that?
Second.
Yeah, I think this will be the only thing that we voted on tonight. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. We'll see everybody next month. Thank you, guys.
Take care.